Alright guys, today's video is going to be about some of the do's and some of the don'ts of the home buying process. And especially when it comes to the don'ts.
Yes, there's some don'ts, some very strong don'ts. A lot of them, they're pertaining pretty much to credit and income and assets. So your big three.
Yeah.
Don't mess up your credit. Don't open new lines of credit. Don't decide you want to start working for yourself during this process. Don't spend all of your money.
Yep. Lots of don'ts there.
Lots of don'ts.
Let's dive into some examples, because we've had a lot of people that we've worked with in the past that just, bless their heart, they just made a mistake, and sadly it could end up ruining the home buying experience, but sometimes we're still able to push it through. So like, what are some of the don'ts as far as, like, let's say your credit goes?
Yeah. So anytime you're doing something that might impact your credit, you want to reach out to your lender. Any of those things, if there's any shadow of, should I be doing this, ask your lender. There are lots of things that can impact credit, and I actually, I've had some favorites.
What are a few things? What are your favorites?
Recently, a client reached out to me and let me know that her husband was at Bass Pro Shop, and he opened up a department credit card.
That's a good place to open up a credit card, huh?
And yeah, right? It was funny because she said, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being super fine, how bad is it if after being pre-approved, I've opened up a new line of credit? And I responded back a 0. And she didn't say anything, and I said, did you get $10 off your Kohl's purchase today? And then she responded back that the Bass Pro Shop was offering a free hat and a piece of fudge if you signed up for their credit card.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
a lot of people will do stuff for a piece of fudge,
yes,
huh?
Yes. I'm making light of it. In that scenario, it was okay, but sometimes those things, those actions that you don't really think about, that you're seeing, hey, there's a little reward being waved in front of me, don't think about what impact it's going to have on your credit score or your what's called your debt to income ratio. Just think about this free thing that we're giving you right here, and do it. Just be mindful of those things.
So it sounds like a bad idea, even though it sounds really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like some other things that we've seen people buy a vehicle, like a car or a truck, in the middle of trying to buy a home. That can throw a huge wrench in things, because it changes your whole debt to income ratio, like what you're paying per month, and then how much credit availability you have in your monthly payments. It changes a lot.
Yes, and as a first-time home buyer, generally that's going to be a deal killer. If you if you purchase a new vehicle, those new vehicle payments are they're intense.
Yeah.
I've seen many vehicle payments over $1,000 a month, and that is. I've had to tell people that I hope you can live in your new truck, because that's your option now.
Yep. And it's sad to see, but it really does happen. Another one we've seen is, we actually had a client where we were literally less than a week away from closing on the house. They went out to one of the furniture stores and opened up a line of credit with the furniture store, and they put like $3,000 in new furniture because they were so excited about buying that home, and they wanted to see all new furniture in the new home, and it just destroyed them. It wrecked their chances because they opened up yet another line of credit. Thankfully, I think on that one we were able to somehow save it, because they're pretty good at financing, but it still can mess you guys up.
Yeah.
Or what are some other things you've seen some people buy?
Well, another thing is another thing that you don't. Well, I've had people buy boats during the process. If you can think of it, then somebody's tried to buy it during the home buying process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So just ask, because I'll tell you, if in the boat buying process in that particular instance, they called and asked, is it okay if we do this? And in that situation, it was okay. And just like with the free hat, that turned out to be okay too.
Yep.
So there are several circumstances, but sometimes it can be the closing of the door in the wrong direction on your opportunity to be a home buyer.
So if you're gonna do anything like that, if you're thinking about making a purchase, or let's say you are forced to, say your car breaks down and explodes somehow and you have to get a new vehicle, just call the lender before you do that and talk with them about it before you make the decision, because you might be able to do it in a different way that will actually save the home buying process for you, and you'll still be able to buy the house. Another thing we've seen is people open up, new credit cards and stuff like that. Well, what are some other don'ts that aren't related to the credit side?
Spending your cash to close. So in the beginning of the process, we're checking your assets. So do you have money to be able to provide your down payment and closing costs? And come closing time, that money still has to be there. So don't spend your money that has been verified and is available for you as, maybe you don't need it as your cash to close, but maybe we need to include it as reserves for you, so as emergency fund money, and your loan might be dependent on you having that money available. So before you spend all your money, reach out to the lender.
Yep, 100%.
Another one is with income. That's a big one. So if you get a new job opportunity, or you lose your job, or you're just, thinking about buying a home, gets you all up in your future feels, and you're thinking about transitioning into a different career, starting your own business. Those are all great things, and we want to encourage those, but not during the home buying process.
If you can, I know sometimes jobs can be, not where you want to be in life, and sometimes, you might not want to be at your job, and you might have something pop up, but if you really want the house, you just might have to wait out a couple weeks is all we're asking. I mean, typically it's 30 days from start to finish on the home buying process. A lot of times we've seen people get a job offer on day 20, and without thinking about it, they accept a new job. And then guess what? Your whole income verification changes, because the lender is relying on you having that stable income where you've been at that job for most of the time 2+ years. So they're relying on you to stay at that job and be able to provide a monthly mortgage payment. Now, if you get into a new job, that creates uncertainty. We don't know how that job's going to work out. They don't know if you're not going to like it there and end up leaving 2 months later. So that's why it's really important during this sale process to just stay at the same spot. And sometimes you just have to, suck it up.
And it's one of those things that just talk to your lender about, because I'm going to be honest with you. And if you get a better opportunity, you need to go after that better opportunity. But I need to be aware of it, and I need to make sure it doesn't impact your qualification before you take that opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's not that, these are things that you 100% can't do through this process, but I think the overall theme here, if I've not driven it home already, is check with your lender.
Check with the lender.
Before making any changes to credit your assets or your income.
Yeah. And speaking of assets, Another thing we've seen with those two is in the past we've seen people that have a lot of money for a down payment. They have a lot of money for, their closing costs. But sometimes what we've seen is people move money around. When lenders are looking at assets, they want to see that money in the same spot for what, like 3 months or more? So yeah, you guys don't want to see moving for money from this account. So we've seen some people spend money and then get money from a parent or something like that, or a friend. And like, if you're planning on buying a home, let's try and park some money for a little while and keep it in the same spot.
Anytime that money is moved from account to account, we have to chase the money. We have to see we have to see if it was a check that was deposited into your account. Sometimes we'll have to see that check. If it's there are a lot of things with assets. But definitely, if you are moving money from one account to the next, then we have to get account statements from all of the accounts to see that money's leaving this account and going to this account. Because in mortgages, we've got to do our due diligence in helping determine that money is not being laundered through the real estate process.
Yep. Trust but verify. And they verify.
Yeah.
They verify. Another thing that not a lot of people realize and not a lot of people talk about, just a few days before you guys end up closing on your first home or your next home, your forever home, just a few days or even up to the day before, they have to go back over all of your stuff and just double check everything. That's usually when we catch those big hiccups. A lot of those don'ts. A lot of people that buy the furniture, that buy the new car, they don't realize that, I'm in the clear because they pre-approved me and it's been 2 weeks and we're ready to close, and now I can go out and buy something because, they're not going to check again. Not true. They're going to check again right before you guys actually close.
Yes, and you bring up a great point. So after you get into contract, undisclosed debt monitoring is turned on for you. And what that's there for is it is sort of an alarm that goes off anytime that your credit is ran during that process. So that's how we're finding out about these things, because we get your bar just ran their credit, blah blah blah, and we're
freaking out.
Fire hoses everywhere, trying to figure out what happened, how we can save everything. But then another one is, like you mentioned, the end of the almost closing time verification is your verification of employment. So that's done anywhere from 10 days through the day of closing. We are re-verifying that you are with your same employer, that they don't see that changing in the near future, and that your income's consistent.
So now let's get on to the better stuff to talk about, right? We talked about all the don'ts. We talked about a lot of don'ts. Let's talk about the do's. What do we want to do? What good habits do we want to have? What's one of the things that's most important to do?
Well, I'm going to angle it from the side of the lender and say, do continue to pay your bills on time during this process. This is not the opportunity to take a free pass on the credit that you worked so hard to make right. Don't quit it yet.
So even
switching to a don't. Pay your bills on time.
Yeah, even if you're selling a house to buy another one, you still want to make sure you're making those on-time payments, especially if it's going to take a month or two to make that happen. You do want to, make sure you're still making all your vehicle payments, all that stuff, credit cards, all that. What else do you want to do?
Do shop for homeowners insurance.
Homeowners insurance. Yep. Yeah, because rates could be crazy out there. We've had quite a few times where we had to actually, find some different homeowner insurance for some of our clients.
Yeah.
So yeah, do shop around for homeowner insurance. Do keep an eye on your credit. You wanna have a good eyeball on the credit. Make sure nothing crazy is happening. Have little subscriptions and stuff like that is coming through.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's in line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say the last and the most important thing is watch the spending. Make sure you're not, going out there and spending a bunch of money on crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Do what you're spending. Do make sure that, you're living still within your means and that you're going to be able to afford that home when the time does come. Yep.
And most importantly, before you make any changes, do check with your lender.
Do check with the lender. I think that's a good spot to end the whole video on, because it all comes back to checking with the lady in charge, is the lender.
That's right.
Right? Awesome. Well, hey, if you guys are wanting this whole list written out, do's and don'ts, and then probably we'll sprinkle in a few other things in there for you that we come up with after the video is already done with. Drop in below in the comments, do versus don't. And we'll get that list over to you guys. All right. Thanks for checking in with us. We're going to have some more videos coming up. So smash that subscribe button.
Thank you.